Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1983 Detroit Tigers season replay. We are going to kick off the preseason with a American League East preview. And we're going to start by taking a look at this title card that I created. Here you see the final standings for the American League East, and Detroit, we won that one-game playoff. Versus the Yankees on the walk-off grand slam by Lance Parish. That sent us to the playoffs where we lost to Seattle. If you followed along, I'm sure you already know that. And we're going to go through today, and we're going to take a look at each American League East team, starting with Toronto, the worst team, and work our way to the Tigers. And we'll see how these teams stack up for the 1983 season. So let's go ahead and take a look at our standings here as we get ready to start the 1983 season. We are going to kick it off with the Toronto Blue Jays. As you can see here, their final numbers from 1982. Not particularly great in pitching. That was their biggest fault. They lost Dave Stieb in May of 82, and that really prevented them from making any strides, as they were the last place team in 81. So if you take a look here at their lineup, they are looking like they're going in the right direction. They signed one free agent. They signed Omar Marino to play center field, and you see here he played for Baltimore last year, put up some good numbers, led the American League in stolen bases. And though his overall rating is not great, he plays good defense and, of course, is a terror on the base path. So for the Blue Jays to get Omar Marino is definitely a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, that left Rick Bassetti as the odd man out. Not a great offensive guy, but he is a Gold Glove winning center fielder. And he will now be a bench piece for the Blue Jays. In addition to newcomer Omar Marino, they are calling up Lloyd Mosby to be the starting DH. And also Gino Petralli will become their main catcher, at least versus right-handers. Maybe no, Ernie Witt's a left-hander as well. So I guess Ernie Witt, who led the team with 21 home runs, is not going to be part of the 83 starting lineup. Willie Upshaw, not going to play first base. I mean, they have pieces in the minor leagues that really, I mean, why not call them up now? Like Danny Tartable played almost the entire season, in the lineup for the Blue Jays. Now, he is only 20 years old this year and is basically has a full season's worth of PT, 167 games, 628 at-bats. He had 28 home runs so far. This guy really should be playing in right field, although he's not great defensively. So I don't know. They have George Bell coming up. They have Danny Tartable, of course, who really should be in the lineup. Look at this. They have Jesse Barfield. Chris Zabel got some PT last year. No, that's not Terry McGriff. That's Fred McGriff. Jose Akendo. So they do have some solid names in the minor leagues. And so they're still away, a year or two away from maybe putting together a lineup that actually contends. In 1983, in real life, the Blue Jays won 87 games. There were 5 teams in the American League East that finished above 500, and the Blue Jays were one of them. So I'd like to think that with their minor league players, they'll make a step in the right direction this season. Let's take a look at the pitching staff. This is bad. This is a rough-looking rotation here. Dave Stieb hopefully will stay healthy for the whole year. He is their ace, followed by Luis Leal, who went 15-15. Steve Davis got called up about halfway through the season and put up some good numbers. He has a great rating. I've never I don't ever remember this guy actually playing in real life, so he might be one of those career minor leaguers that the game gives a chance to become a regular. Jim Clancy, terrible record and terrible ERA, but he did log a lot of innings. And the number 5 starter on this team, who knows who that's going to be? Is it going to be Lemanchik? Is it going to be Jackson Todd? Is it going to be Jesse Jefferson? All have terrible ratings. They don't have anybody other than really Jimmy Key. They have Cerruti and Gott. I mean, those were all solid major leaguers. In real life, Mark Eichhorn was a submariner. Randy Myers was a closer. Maybe he's a closer of the future. And Fergie Jenkins still holding on. He got injured in spring training. We've already gone through the spring. So he's injured. And I don't think he's going to help him much anyway with that 58 rating. So, again, the Blue Jays, they have some hope for the future, but they're not there yet. Would not be surprised to see them finished in last place once again. I should also mention that there are no new stadiums this season. The Blue Jays are the next team in baseball that gets a new stadium. That's not until 1989, though, when they get the Sky Dome. So there won't be any new stadiums until 1989 in all of baseball. And there's only one new logo in 1983. That's the San Francisco Giants. And we'll take a look at that when we get to San Francisco. I did also go through and change all the uniforms to have them updated for the correct colors for the and patterns for the 1983 season. So the Blue Jays still had the powder blues back then. Okay, and I guess the other thing that we'll take a look at before we move on, if we look at the stadium, I have already gone through and changed all of the park effects for each stadium. The Blue Jays, no joke, they had the most home runs by left-handed batters in the American League in their stadium, and it wasn't even close. It was almost double the average. So if they have left-handed batters in the lineup, they are going to crush it this year. Right-handed batters hit about average for home runs. Hits for lefties are 35% more than the average stadium. Right-handed hits are 13% less. Doubles and triples, a lot of extra base hits this year for the Blue Jays. And you see strikeouts, double plays, errors, not great. So they're still playing the exhibition stadium. And, there's going to be a lot of fireworks there. I can't wait until we play the Blue Jays. Next team up, it's going to be your Cleveland Indians / Guardians. We'll take a look at the Indians here. I can't wait to get rid of that Chief Wahoo logo, but we're trying to make it realistic as it were in 1983. So let's take a look at the Indians lineup. Not a lot of new. They didn't make any free agent signings as far as batters go. Now, I did go through. I don't know if I'm going to regret this or not, but I did go through and make sure that every player in the game is assigned their correct position. So Kevin Roberg was not a second baseman in real life. He was a third baseman. He did play second base in the minors, but I switched him to third base, and because of that, he is better rated than Tom Brookins, who had an awesome year last year. Tommy, in his first season outside of Detroit, went .304 with 22 home runs and 76 RBIs, 17 stolen bases, a .353 on base percentage. He was awesome. But because I'm trying to go for more historical accuracy, I updated the players' positions, and this is what happened. So I feel kind of, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to regret that decision or not. I guess only time will tell. But the Indians, so they didn't do much otherwise. Losing Brookins, I guess rated a 78, isn't that big of a deal. Von Hayes may be one of the best young players in the game. I'm glad to see him get a full season He's a 2020 guy for the Indians. He's probably their best player. Dan Pasqua came around after having a terrible trial year in 1981. 5 home runs, batted only 187. Last year he had 19 homers in about a 230. So he's probably, he didn't even reach the majors until 1984 in real life. So he's ahead of schedule. Carl Pagle, always a thorn in our side. Walks a ton, strikes out a ton. He's a true outcome guy. 104 walks, 142 strikeouts. Led the league in both, I believe. And that 362 on base percentage is great. So he will be their first baseman. Probably should be their DH. Taking a look at the bench of up and coming players. Again, they're a bad team for a reason. They've got nobody good here. Dave Gallagher had a nice career. Oh, Jim Wilson. We forgot about Jim Wilson. Remember, he started last year as their first baseman, tore the cover off the ball, was probably going to easily become the rookie of the year. And they sent him down to the minors, all the way to Double-A, and that's where he still sits. Taking a look at the deeper... Oh, so they do have Tony Fernandez. That's one good player. Mike Stanley, a great catcher in his time. And, yeah, that's about it. So they've got nobody but a catcher and a shortstop on the way up. I guess Cory Snyder. He played for Team USA in 1984, so he didn't make it to the majors until 85. Franklin Stubbs, pretty solid. Ultimately, not a good minor league system. Look at all the 70s at the AAA level. That's pretty rough. Okay, so let's take a look at the pitching rotation for the Indians. Now, John Denny, he was the Cy Young Award winner in 1983, but for the Phillies. Of course, the Phillies went to the World Series and played against Baltimore, as Baltimore won the series 4 out of 5 games. So, but John Denny was the Cy Young winner for the National League in 1983. He is their ace and had a great year last year, despite the record. Larry Mccall. What did Larry Mccall do last year? Nothing but give up 58 home runs, the most I've ever seen in this baseball sim. Opponents batted .310 against him. Never even made it to 100 strikeouts. 10 and 22. Yeah, he's definitely going to be unhappy about that. And then Len Barker, Wayne Garland, still in the middle of his 10-year contract. This would have been his last year in the majors. It is his last year because he did not play in 83. This was his last baseball card. So, yeah, the Indians cut him loose with 4 years to go on that 10-year deal. Of course, I do have all of the players' baseball cards up to date, as you see John Denny there in his Phillies uniform. At some point, I'll give you a representation of each of the 3 major brands of cards that year. And then their bullpen, suspect at best. Taking a look at who they have in the minors. How are they not having Don Cooper in the lineup? This guy was awesome last year. Actually, he's been great in 2 of the 3 sim seasons, but he is stuck down in AAA. That's the other thing that I did. I went through and I made sure all of the minor league team names are correct. So the Charleston Charlies is the AAA team for the Indians in 1983. In Double-A, it is the Buffalo Bison. And in Single-A ball, they are the Waterloo Indians. So I made sure every team, American League, National League, actually have the right minor league system names. So let's take a look and see if they have anybody coming up in the minors. They have Wild Thing, Mitch Williams with a terrible rating. This is the Indians of the 80s. They were horrible. They've got nobody other than maybe Wild Thing. So I don't expect, they're probably going to be easily the last place team Maybe if they're lucky, they can sell off some pieces for the future. And again, they've made no positive free agent signings. Let's take a look at the stadium real quick. Stadium effects for the Indians. Oh man, they are terrible. No left-handed batters are going to hit, probably more than a few home runs. Rated 77, so 23% less likely to hit a home run left-handed in Cleveland Stadium. Right-handers below average as well. Hits are pretty good though, 105 and 103. Doubles above average. Triples, forget about it. Nobody hit triples in Cleveland Stadium. Also, not a lot of strikeouts, so that's interesting. Double plays are good. Errors are bad. So, that stadium was opened in 1932. Yeah, there's a renaissance in the 90s, the mid to late 90s when a lot of stadiums were getting swapped out. So that's the Cleveland Indians, the possible Cleveland Guardians, right? Let's go ahead to the next team, which is the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brew Crew hit the most home runs in our simulation last year, and they also hit the most home runs in real life in 1982. So that was kind of a nice comparison to see them, despite having a team of rookies, go ahead and just continue to bash. Look at this lineup. Kind of the same as last year. Not a lot different other than Randy Reddy, who got injured. He was their DH at the beginning of the 82 season and then was injured and missed the whole year after, I guess, maybe it was May. There's not a lot of newness here either. But keep in mind, there was 6 rookies in this lineup. Scooby, Azador, Cockrell, who won the American League Rookie of the Year with 91 RBI, Doug Lohman, and who else was it? Was there somebody else? I can't remember. So maybe there was 5 or 6. So kind of impressive. But they put up a lot of home runs, 25 home runs from Paul Molitor, and 25 from Cockrell, 24 from Azador. So they put up some pretty decent numbers there. Let's take a look at their bench. They have their minor league system here. They have Mike Felder, who was a solid major league contributor. They have Dante Bichette. He was a slugger, had some of his better years in Colorado. And I guess you could say Kevin Elster was a decent middle infield option. So again, we're going to say this probably often for all the divisions, but yeah, not a lot of free agent signings. So this is a 500 team. If they can take these rookies from last season and get the same contribution from them, they could have some improvement on their record. Maybe finish 500 or better. Let's take a look at the pitchers. This is where they really struggled last year. They have Teddy Higuera, who is definitely their ace and really will likely be an all-star before too long. Tom Candiotti, I did check this out. Tom Candiotti did not learn the knuckleball until 1986. So he does not have the knuckleball in his arsenal. He didn't have it before the season started in 82. But I will add it. I did add the split finger fastball to Jack Morris. We'll talk more about that when we get to the Tigers. So they start to get a little sketchy with their 4 and 5 starter. Do they have anybody in the minors who could take over that role? Jim Slayton tried to do his best when Fred Holdsworth got injured. He was pretty bad. Rich Rodas got a late season call-up. Was not great. Dave Lapointe, pretty solid starter in the majors. He's got a chance to make the team. And, we're looking down this list of... there's Bobby Thigpen. For whatever reason, Mark Ciardi always does well in this game. I've had a lot of luck with him in the past, and that's it. I mean, they've got really nothing to look forward to in their minor league system. So, the Milwaukee Brewers are all power, not a lot of pitching. Looks like Bob Gibson will get the closer's job. And not the Bob Gibson, but the other Bob Gibson. Look at that, 15 saves with an .061 ERA. They also have Doug Jones, the oldest young person ever. And Dwight Bernard with one of the worst beards of all time. Look at that guy. There he is right there. Okay, so we're through with the Brew Crew. Let's take a look at their stadium real quick. If we do this now, we don't have to do it at the beginning of every series like I was doing last year. We're taking a look at the Milwaukee County Stadium. Their stadium affects left-handers are average with home runs. Righties, down 16% from average. So I don't think we're going to see as many home runs. That might make them worse off overall. Take a look here at the hits. Lefties hit really well. Righties are 10% less. Doubles are poor. Triples are up. Strikeouts, maybe it will be less. Double plays, a little bit above average, and errors below average. So, I mean, that does not bode well with the home. I mean, a team that relied on home runs suddenly is 16% less likely to hit a home run as a right-hander. But the same holds true for the visiting team. So now we're going to go to Baltimore, and Baltimore, they made some moves. They did a lot, and of course, the Orioles. They won the World Series in 1983, so they had a lot going on. Cal Ripken won the MVP that year. Of course, in this game, he is in the minor leagues on the Oakland A's. I mean, they have Robin Yount, so they're doing all right at shortstop. So this team did make one free agent signing. They signed Rick Manning to replace Omar Marino. Manning was in center field for the Rangers last season, and he is a Gold Glove winner, so he's pretty decent defensively if you take a look here at his defensive ratings. But he doesn't have the speed of Omar Marino, so probably a step down offensively. Ken Singleton still holding on, and he was the Gold Glove winner in right field with a 68 rating. How is that possible? There it is, Gold Glove winner in 1982. That is insane. But he's still contributing with a terrible rating overall. He's happy. Look at that. And when we traded for for Eddie Murray, who has got to have a better season this year, Jim Traber got the job as the first baseman. Look at the numbers he put up. What I wouldn't have given for Eddie Murray to have done at least that much for us. So he's going to take over the everyday first base role for a full season this year. Greg Luzinski batted .300 with 24 home runs. Pretty solid. They have a solid maybe the best defensive third baseman in the American League, John Castino. I don't think he won the Gold Glove. Robin Yount at short. So they have some pretty solid players. They have Ron LaFleur, who platooned with Omar Marino last year. So he's still out there in center field. Let's take a look at the bench. I mean, they have Doug DeCinces, Al Bumbry, Phil Gardner. These are all big names that we probably won't see at all in 1983. Let's look down the rest of the minor league roster. Oh, yeah, they have Andres Galarraga. We gave up Galarraga in that deal for Murray, which is just insult to injury at this point. And they've got nobody else to look forward to in the minor leagues. Actually, Ron Karkovice, great defensive catcher for the White Sox in his time, so maybe he could become their everyday catcher in the future. Let's take a look at the pitchers. This is a crazy, crazy thing, man. They traded away Mike Flanagan when they were in the middle of the pennant chase because he was making over $1 million, and then their players got injured, and they had nobody. Look, this is all they have for their minor league roster. And it was still a pretty solid team. Mike Boddicker, he can't stay healthy, but he's their number 5 pitcher. Scott McGregor, I believe, started in the bullpen last year. He did before he was thrust into the starter's role due to injury and trades. Randy Jones, solid year, former Cy Young Award winner, 1976, I think it was. Oh, we know what it was. We can just look. 76, there we go. And, of course, El Presidente. And the best pitcher on the team is Alan Ramirez. He went 17-12 last year. He always beats us for some reason. We're looking at the bullpen. Look at that. They got Bruce Sutter. They got the Quiz. They got Tim Stoddard. They got Sammy Stewart, not doing coke. He will be doing coke very soon in the majors. I think 83 was the year that all the Kansas City Royals got caught, and Steve Howe was suspended at the end of the season. Look at the minor leagues here. They have Jim Palmer, who got injured, but now he is kind of aged himself out of the rotation. And they don't have much to go on here. I mean, if you take a look at just based on ratings and not really on the names, I mean, Alan Anderson in single A rated at 86. I mean, he really can't pitch yet effectively in the majors. Tony Arnold did okay in limited duty. Randy O'Neill, former Detroit Tiger, he went over there in a trade. Looks like he could be a solid contributor, but he's in Double A. So their Triple A pitchers are Don Welchel and Jim Palmer. And they still have a pitcher who's injured. It's going to miss a majority of the first half of the season. So the Orioles, I mean, there's no way that they're going to win the division like they did in real life. They don't really have, I don't think they really have the depth. If you just look at the names, they look pretty solid. I mean, this is definitely an above 500 team. Alan Bannister led the American League in doubles. He had 57. So he contributed as a leadoff guy. He was the DH last year. Now he's in left field. So the DH is going to be Luzinski. That makes a lot of sense. Alan Bannister, of course, is a second baseman. But Krenchicki's got that down. And they moved Bannister to left. So this is really cool. This is something that I do like about Baseball Mogul. Is I did, as I said, went through and I changed all of their positions to the regular positions that they played actually in Major League Baseball. As you see here, second base is the best fit for Alan Bannister. But the game went ahead and changed him back to keep him in the lineup and to give him a chance to play every day and put together the best starting lineup that the Orioles can have. So that's cool. I like that they do that. It annoys me when, Otis Nixon, who we're going to see here momentarily with the Yankees, is playing third base when he literally never played third base in the major league. And I did change him. There's consequences. We'll show you that when we get to the Yankees here shortly. Let's take a look at Memorial Stadium's park effects. Okay, left-handers in Memorial Stadium, 9% less likely to hit home runs. Right-handers, 15% up. So that's not good news for is Luzinski? No, Luzinski's right-handed, right? So yeah, the left-handers in this lineup are going to be less likely to get hits, less likely to get home runs. Doubles not great, triples not great, not a lot of extra base hits unless you're a right-hander in this stadium. So that could hurt them. Looking at the strikeouts, a little bit above average. Double plays occur here more often, and errors are less likely. So it looks like this is a good defensive year for a lot of teams, as anything under 100 means less errors. So that's good. Okay, so that is Memorial Stadium. Let's go to our next team, which is the Boston Red Sox. Now, they made a big trade in the offseason. And they picked up Dennis Littlejohn from the San Francisco Giants. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why Littlejohn was traded. And there's also a reason why he's batting leadoff. And that's because I took Bob Brenly, who was listed as a third baseman, and I made him a catcher. And having him at catcher and having him have a higher rating than Dennis Littlejohn made Littlejohn available for trade. So they traded him over here. Take a look at him real quick. This guy walks a lot. 61 walks in 487 at bats. So he's only got a 211 hitter, but his on base percentage is over 300. I don't think you ever want a catcher leading off. But he's got a 91 arm. He's got a rifle behind home plate. So he will be valuable in our division with Ricky running and Otis Nixon and Omar Marino. So that is going to be kind of impressive. Fred Lynn, in real life, he hit a grand slam in the All-Star game. The All-Star game this year is going to be in Chicago at Comiskey Park. And Fred Lynn hit the first grand slam ever in an All-Star game. Also for Boston, this was Carl Yastrzemski's last year. He played his last game for the Red Sox. So I think that's kind of interesting. And here's a story that I had never heard before. When I was going through and looking at events that took place during the 1983 baseball season, I'm sure we're all familiar with the boating accident that claimed the lives of Tim Cruz and Steve Olin, in which Bob Ojeda survived. But Boston actually had a similar incident, a boating incident, in October of 1983. A boat with 3 minor leaguers on it, which included John Mitchell, who did pitch in the American League, capsized off the coast of Florida, and one minor leaguer perished. His name was Anthony Lather, and John Mitchell and Scott Stipko survived by holding on to a cooler and a bucket for 20 hours in the ocean. So the boat owner also passed away in that incident. So I had never heard that before. So, I mean, for me, I don't know if you're a Boston fan, maybe you knew that story, but I had never heard that. So let's take a look at the rest of the lineup here. Wade Boggs absolutely crushed it. And Pat Dodson gets the first base job. And that's because Dave Stapleton was traded to Seattle. Seattle, it gets better with a two-time Gold Glove winning first baseman. Now, when I started spring training, Jason Thompson was actually listed as the first baseman. So Pat Dodson sneaks in there and must have won the job as a fellow lefty. Of course, most first basemen are left-handed, I guess. He will be the first baseman, and JT is going to sit in AAA for another season. So with Dennis Littlejohn taking over, that moves bad dude John Stearns into a backup role. Yvonne Calderon loses the DH job to Lachelle Tarver. So this is versus righties, maybe versus lefties. It's a different lineup. Yeah, Calderon gets in there. So I guess that's the only real difference. Let's see here. What else do we have? Looking at the minors, I mean, they have JT. They got Chico Walker, who looks like he's ready to get some regular PT. I would imagine that this is a team that if they fall out of it, they have a lot of trade chips. Mike Kingery has some pretty good minor league ratings. Take a look all the way down. Ozzie Canseco. Yeah, that's it. So they don't have a lot to go on in the minors either. They have all their money right here in the majors, but a pretty damn good team. Wade Boggs, I mean, look at his career numbers. Again, this is his rookie card, was 1983. So 1982 was his first season in real life, and now he's already got over 1,500 at-bats. That's kind of cool. I mean, he's 24 years old in 1983, and that, Butch Hobson was in front of him, so he couldn't get the regular playing time. I think, looking back on it, you'd want Wade Boggs over Butch Hobson, even though Hobson was an all-star. Okay, let's take a look at the pitchers. This is their strength. Bruce Hurst, we're going to face him on opening day in Detroit. Bruce Hurst will be on the mound. We have 4 lefties in this rotation, and the 5th starter is Oil Can Boyd. Boyd and Danny Parks split time as the 5th starter. They have Eck in relief. He's their closer. John LaRose, terrible. They have a couple of really bad rated players. They did have Tom Bergmeyer retire, if I recall. So he had one of those. I guess he had that position right there. Let's take a look and see who they have in the minors that could help them. Terry Mulholland, still pretty young. Greg Hibbard, a pretty solid career. Cut short due to injuries, but he looks like he's going to be a stud. Mike Trujillo, I remember him in real life as a below average pitcher, but he's got good ratings. John Lester, he's got a good rate. Not the John Lester, but a different John Lester. It looks pretty good. Al Nipper. I mean, they do have some solid Double-A pitchers. Danny Parks, he gave up a lot of home runs too, didn't he? Oh no, he didn't. Oh, he gave up a lot of walks. That's his thing. 331 career walks versus 207 career strikeouts. Oh man, I don't know how that guy gets another start in the majors. You can see here he's in decline based on his start. So he's your number 6 starter if they need someone. So, this is a great team. I don't know if they're better than New York, and I'm not sure they're better than Detroit, but they're close. Let's take a look at the Fenway Park ratings. We know what Fenway Park does. Left-handed batters, I believe they hit a total of 35 to 40 home runs, if I remember right when I was doing my research. So they have left-handed batters, forget about it. Right-handed hitters crush it. The short, hitting it over the wall, that's the big deal. Left-handed batters, even though they have that pesky pole, did not hit a lot of home runs. Okay. Left-handed hits, 2% up, 14% up for right-handed batters getting hits. Oops. There we go. Doubles, 27% up. Triples, I think you got to hit it into that little triangle by the bullpen. That's the only place you can really get a triple out there. Strikeouts are average. Double plays, more likely. Errors, right about average. So, Fenway Park, still kicking, still a beautiful stadium. I've actually never seen a game there, but I've hung out outside the park. Couldn't get tickets. So, you just drank the beer. Okay, next team up. We are looking at, the Yankees. Okay, the Yankees. Wow, in real life, Billy Martin was signed for the 3rd time to become the manager, and subsequently he was fired after the season. Yankees finished 2nd behind Baltimore in 1983. Also, the Pine Tar game took place in 1983 at Yankee Stadium. So maybe we'll see that. Also, Dave Righetti, who I believe is listed as a closer on the Yankees, pitched a no-hitter on July 4th. He was the first Yankee pitcher to throw a no-hitter since Don Larson's perfect game in 1956, and the first Yankee lefty to throw a no-hitter since 1917. So kind of an exciting season for the Yankees, just falling short. We'll take a look here. There it is. Otis Nixon, now listed as the center fielder. That makes sense. He was the third baseman last year. Take a look at the fielding. 24 games at third base. He DH'd a bit as well. Really didn't play that bad, but that was not his. We all know that's not his position, so we don't need to dwell on it. But because he switched to center field, that screwed Lee Mazzilli, who did win a Gold Glove last year, and now he's in AAA. So cause and effect. It's unfortunate because I'm a big Lee Mazzilli fan, but unfortunately, he wasn't even on the Yankees in 1982. He was on Texas. Oh, I'm wrong. He was actually on the Yankees in 1983. So my bad. Okay, so the other big deal, huge trade. You may have seen this if you watched the season-ending video. Steve Kemp was traded from St. Louis to the Yankees, and then what you don't know is that he was given a 5-year deal in a separate transaction. So Steve Kemp is going to be in left field for the foreseeable future. I'm a big Steve Kemp fan. I love him. Too bad we had to trade him. We tried to get that big package deal, in which we got Mickey Hatcher. So Mickey Hatcher was our team MVP. So I feel like we did okay in that sense. Love this Steve Kemp White Sox bearded guy, looking like he could play baseball right now. Take a look at the rest of the lineup here. Joe LaFave gets back there at third base because the position was open from Otis Nixon. So he's our third baseman for the Yankees. Claudell Washington, former MVP, out there in right field. Ozzie Smith, that was a good trade that the Yankees made in the middle of last year. Take a look at the bench. They're deep. They have Rick Leach, batted .324 with 6 home runs. He kept Don Mattingly from getting the everyday PT. And Mattingly's got to get past Dennis Worth, who batted .201 with 17 home runs. I would rather have Don Mattingly. So hopefully, with his 85 rating, he will maybe at some point get to play every day this year. Let's take a look at the rest of their minor league system. They got nobody. They got nothing. I'm not saying Cecil Cooper was nothing, but right now he's rated a 66. Everybody likes Cecil Cooper. They got Steve Balboni. A lot of players got some at-bats in 1983 for the Yankees. So that is a tough lineup. That is a lineup that, you may not like Brian Dayette. I don't. And you may think Dennis Worth is not worthy. But they still produce, and it's going to be tough. Ron Hassey, of course, won also the American League MVP in 1981. In this, he had 107 RBI. So Hassey, definitely the anchor to this team. Let's take a look at the pitchers. Oh, gosh, this team is good with their starting 5. They traded for Scott Sanderson in the middle of the year. He maybe didn't do as much as you would have wanted. What was his ERA for the 4.15 ERA, 6-10 for the Yankees. So he got 20 starts and really didn't help him down the stretch as much as maybe they thought he would. The number 5 starter last year was Milt Wilcox. He won 17 games. Looks like they're going to give it to the Rook, Kevin Menden, who is so anonymous, we don't even have a photograph for him. So I don't really know much about him, but he came over in that Montreal deal too, I guess. And he pitched all right. I can't imagine he's a better option than a 17-game winner, but rating-wise, he is rated higher. Take a look at the bullpen. You have Ron Guidry. He was injured. Most of the year was definitely in contention for the ERA title before he got injured. He went 12-8, and then we have those 2 one-time rookies in 1980 who are still putting up good numbers. AAA, or no, bullpen, I should say. We have Goose. We have Kurt Kaufman, who is their closer. There's Rags, Dave Righetti, who is a reliever in this game, but at this point of his career in the majors, he was a starter in real life. Let's take a look at who they have in the minor leagues. They have Bob Tewksbury. Wow, he's rated an 88. This guy could be your number 3 starter if they gave him a chance. This guy never walked anybody. That is what he's most famous for. His control, equal to like Greg Maddux, in that time period. Jim Deshea looks pretty solid. And, Kevin Tapani. Yeah, like him. So they have 3 good minor league starters, and none of them have yet to leap over Milt Wilcox. So, okay, so that's the Yankees. This team is definitely the class of the American League East. I mean, they have 5 good starters that can win any start, and a lineup that has a lot of power, has speed. They are going to be tough to beat. Okay, now it's time for your Detroit Tigers. Thanks for sticking around if you've made it this far. Let's take a look at Detroit. We made a couple minor moves. Most importantly, we've got Ricky Henderson back playing every day out there in left field. Gibby will go back to the DH role. Gibby had a great season, almost won the MVP on the voting from the Baseball Mogul Facebook page. Mickey Hatcher was our MVP. 100 RBI, 20 home runs, almost batted 300. He was hovered around 300 to 310 almost all year. So a great out-of-nowhere season for Mickey Hatcher. Now down to 79, though, for a rating. Eddie Murray, what a piece of garbage he was for us. Looking at Eddie Murray here. 219 at-bats and 8 extra base hits. Batted .215 with a sub-600 OPS. I would say that if we had Eddie Murray and Andre Dawson playing to their ability, we would have made it to the World Series. But we might have other problems. Lance Parish had a solid year. Had that walk-off grand slam that put us into the playoffs. That was unforgettable. But his rating is 77. And I believe he will be a free agent after next year. So this might be Lance Parish's last year as a Tiger before I trade him for scraps. So Andre Dawson can suck it. Actually, he played really good defense, and he was clutch at times for us last year. 4 RBI, and there were some big RBIs in there. Glenn Wilson, we want him to play right field. He started off the year for us in right field and unfortunately got injured while he was batting .346, and we lost him for the rest of the year. So we've got our left fielder back. We've got our right fielder back. Trammell missed some time last year, so he had a down year as well. So our lineup, if they do what they're supposed to do, could be very, very, I was going to say very, very good. But you know what? I'm not sure. I want them to be good. I just don't know what they're going to be. I like the fact that Ricky Henderson is our highest rated batter. He really struggled out of the gate with stolen bases. His overall stolen bases were 35 out of 57. That is horrible. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Ricky. I mean, it's going to be fun this year to see if we can pull this lineup together. Here's our playoff hero, Hojo. Hojo had 2 doubles, 2 triples, and a home run in 5 playoff games, and he didn't even start one of them. So he is our third baseman of the future. If Mickey Hatcher, is he in his last year? So, yeah, he goes to arbitration. So, I mean, Mickey Hatcher is tradable. in the last year of his deal. Do we want to give Mickey Hatcher, rated at 79, do we want to give him cash money, Holmes? I don't know. I'm not thinking that we're going to, but I don't know. We've got Greg Brock on the bench. He missed a good portion of the season. He was our starting first baseman. We had originally got Eddie Murray to be the DH because Gibby went to left field when Ricky got injured, and then Brock got injured. So that was a real bummer. Bobby Ramos still our catcher, and look who's back! Gary Hancock, our 1980 team MVP. Batted .311 with 9 home runs last year for Kansas City. Spent a lot of the time in the minors. We need a left-handed bat off the bench and a little bit more depth in the outfield in case Glenn Wilson gets injured again. If you look at the minor leagues, we still got Eddie Miller, who had 32 stolen bases, scored 52 runs. We got him in a trade from Atlanta for a bag of balls, and he actually helped us out. Except for down the stretch, he just completely died off. And we have Kevin Bass, who was, despite his mediocre numbers, he became an everyday player, played in the playoffs for us in right field. Also, we got John Mayberry back on a minor league deal, and he started last year for us, and we ended up cutting him loose to save some payroll. But he's on a minor league deal, and we're going to keep him in AAA in case we have something go wrong. Take a look at the rest of our guys. We don't have anyone good until none of these guys I want to play, believe me, other than Kevin Bass. We go to AA. We got Jody Reed. We gave him some PT last year, and he went 0 for 10 as a 19-year-old. And, nobody else in AA is good that you want to play. And then we look at our single A players. We've got Barry Larkin. He's going to take over for Trammell at some point, I guess. And Mike McFarland, a good catcher we really need. Maybe him coming around will give us a reason to trade Parish. And then Roberto Kelly, I think he's our top prospect. Maybe it's Larkin. And then Dan Gonzalez is still injured. I would cut him loose right now. Except I like Dan Gonzalez. He's not going to play the whole season. So, but I like that Dan Gonzalez. So we'll pay him. Let's take a look at the pitchers. Oh man. So in spring training, which we've already done, I basically said to myself, because who else am I talking to? We have 2 starting rotation spots that are up for grabs. Dan Petrie has not won a position yet. Every year that we've played, he's either got injured like he did last year or has been totally ineffective. More walks than strikeouts. Last year was the first time that he performed okay. And in real life, Dan Petrie won 17 games in 1982 and had a 3-something ERA. So, we need Petrie to come through. I'm giving him the number 4 spot. And because we don't really have anybody else, we're going to give the number 5 spot to Tom Filer, who went 9-4 and really made us feel good about our number 5 starter. Because for a while there with Jerry Uger and Bruce Robbins, who's now in relief, with those 2 clowns, and Bryn Smith. We had Bryn Smith as well. With those 3 guys going on, we had no opportunities to win those games. And Tom Filer really did kind of bail us out. All of our bullpen is the same as last year. Tom Hume in the last year of his contract, though. So he may be a tradable commodity, even though he's not rated great. He's somebody we could get rid of and bring up maybe the creeper. Paul Gibson, who helped us out down the stretch. Brian Kelly looked good in a few starts. Dave Patterson sucks. Morris Madden, he was our number 1 prospect, and he did terrible at the major league level. But, we still have hopes for him. Look at the ratings. The ratings are amazing. Gumpy Gumpert, So look at our double A. We got Danny Jackson coming up. We got Jeff Montgomery in relief. We got Doug Drabeck, who has already played for Kansas City in this game, but he's still developing and doesn't look great. We got David Cohn and Chuck Finley, which I promoted in spring trading to double A. We got Mark Leiter. We got David Wells, Brian Harvey. We have some real strong contenders for rotation spots in the future. But right now we're stuck with Jack Morris, who I gave him the splitter. Oh, I don't want you to think I made it a 93. I didn't. I made it an 88. And then I guess which would have tied him for his listed best pitch, which is the fastball. The splitter was his best pitch. It was taught to him by Roger Craig in 1980. So the fact that it's not actually on here is kind of a travesty that we've been playing without it. So I added it, and I tried to make it equal to his best pitch without going over. But I guess the game, through our minor league coaching or whatever, has upped it to a 93. So maybe that's good. He's better than a 500 pitcher, for crying out loud. So we need something good from Jack. Bert Blyleven, huge disappointment last year, going 6-6. First time we'll have him for a full season. And we've got him until 1986. He's not unhappy. He hates Detroit. Well, screw you, Bert. So he's not happy here. So maybe Bert's got to go. I don't know. And Dave Rozema, who really was horrible down the stretch. Oh, we can't even look at his log. It's too early to look at a log. Yeah, I mean, we love Dave Rozema, and we have him until 1985, and so he's going to be with us. But as good as he was early on was as bad as he was at the end. He was horrible. Could barely get out of the first inning a couple times. But we got Cappy. We got Dave Smith to be our closer if Roger Weaver cannot repeat his awesome season. Dave Rucker was great. Keith Comstock gave up a ton of home runs in relief, but overall good numbers. Look at that. The strikeouts to innings pitch was fantastic. And we have some good AAA players. So let's take a look at Tiger Stadium, and then we'll bring the American League East to a close. Oh, yeah. Again, I did manipulate these, but only based on actual numbers, not based on what I was hoping for in my fantasy world. Left-handed batters, 36% more likely to hit home runs. Right-handed batters, 20% more. But overall, our park factor is 95, so 5% below the average stadium that these would take effect. So left-handed batters, 92 for hits. 8, and also for righties, so 8% less likely to get hits. Doubles, which we already don't hit, are terrible. Triples are up. Strikeouts are up a lot for batters. Double plays, this is tough because we already are pretty poor defensively. And errors are 5% less likely to happen. But double plays, with our ground ball pitchers, like Dave Rozema, it's going to be tough. And we don't get a new stadium until 2000 when Comerica Park was built. So we've got 16 more years of Tiger Stadium. Okay, that is going to do it for the American League. I guess the one last thing to show is the finances. Baltimore is under in cash, so they won't be signing any more free agents. That's the only other thing of note. Otherwise, everybody else is healthy monetarily. And we've already got everything else set up. So that's going to do it for the American League East preview special. And we're going to come back in a couple days. We're going to do the American League West. And then we'll do the 2 National League divisions. And as of right now, opening day is slated for April 1st, where the Tigers will take on these Boston Red Sox. It's Bruce Hurst versus Jack Morris. We're looking forward to that. Okay, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you in a couple days with the American League West preview. Until then, everyone, have a great night.